But the real thing is that the religion ideas has influence in people, in something like abortion or homosexual marriage and something like that.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, the very members of our government come from different religious traditions. They have different. Now, I mean, in all honesty, while I realize that the abortion issue or the sexual orientation issues are ones that can create great emotional response, especially in religious communities, in my mind, these are more social or moral issues, and we have to be very sensitive because of the religious implications that they generate. But my point is, on that religion versus state matter, I think both in America and in Spain and elsewhere, it is the single most important charge of government to protect all people. And if there's an incident about sexual orientation or some violence that arises over an abortion clinic or something along those lines, then the first and foremost, I think, priority is for the government to protect the people involved in the incident, not a religious group, not a non-governmental group, but the security forces of the government. And I think that would be true both in America and in Spain, and I presume in Glasgow as well.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we say it would be good to have only one language over the world. Speak English, Spanish, or Chinese, or something like that. No? It would be good to have only one religion sometime.
I don't think so. I don't think it would be I don't think it would be nearly as exciting a world if that were the case. I mean, just yesterday on our first day of entering into our program here in Barcelona, when we had a press conference, I was speaking with a gentleman whose first name is Miguel. He's one of the senior people with Unescocat Catalonia, and I was really interested to hear him. Yes, thank you. And really interested to hear him use the word intercultural rather than multicultural, because I think in America, or at least in my own circles, I have heard people use the term multicultural quite a bit, but I was really intrigued by intercultural, because that to me raises up the uniqueness of different cultures, whereas multicultural kind of suggests what you just mentioned, which is that somehow these cultures come together and form a monoculture, and that wouldn't be very exciting. Later in the day, we were moving from a wonderful visit to a Muslim prayer hall, mosque, and heading to dinner, and one member of Unescocat Catalonia was passing out a couple of electricity converters to some members of our New York delegation, and this fella's, while he was doing this, several members of our New York delegation are women from Pakistan and India, and across the street were several young men from Punjab who were part of a Sikh Gurdwara, and they came across the street to make sure that this person from UNESCO wasn't trying to fake out or otherwise fool these what the Sikh fellows thought were visitors to Barcelona, and we all had a wonderful laugh and chuckle over that, and so there was a kind of, and so one of my colleagues from New York was speaking Punjabi with the Sikh gentleman from India in Barcelona, and Unescocat Catalonia was laughing when they understood the situation. And so it was really a remarkable example to me of just how much fun the world can be when we are speaking our different languages and living into our different religious experiences, but also coming to an understanding about what's going on, thinking about it.
So there is not only one God.
Well, one person would use the word God, another person would use the word divine, another the word way. I don't think that whatever calls us in our faith journeys can be defined by human words.
In America, often the politicians in the meetings, they end the meeting saying, "God bless you." That is good or not? Or which God has to bless us?
I think it certainly raises a lot of important issues given where we are today in the world. I mean, I don't have the historical details precise, but for example, a lot of people will make reference to the sort of "in God we trust" on American currency. But my understanding is that when we first minted currency after the American Revolution and then well into the early part of the 19th century, that was not on the currency. That came later when politicians were expressing their religion probably more than they should in their role as public servants. And so I think we need to continue to be very cautious about politicians and public proclamations that would imply a Christian deity versus other divine beings that are followed by other faith traditions. It's just something we've got to be very cautious about.
Because in the currency they say "in God we trust," but there's people who doesn't trust in God.
Yep.
But they use the money.
Well, I think I'll leave the debate between people of faith and atheists to some others, because I'm too excited about the excellent conversations and understanding that continues to develop between different kinds of believers.
Just one anecdote. Every religion usually has his own calendar, but the world goes with a Christian calendar. Now we are in 2010. No? It's impossible to think about to putting all together, with beginning with another calendar.
Yeah.
It's a full thing.
That's an interesting question. One that I haven't thought about in a little while.
It's not necessary.
I suppose it's a matter of. I mean, to call it a Christian calendar. Okay, yeah, sure, it came from Roman Christianity, but I think that I think people, for means of communication, when you talked about moving to one language, one religion, well, I suppose as far as measuring time is concerned, people, in my sense, have reached a place of at least mutual agreement that it's a fairly objective way to measure time, to try to recreate a calendar that somehow brings in the other calendars that are used by different cultures. It's just there are more important issues to work on.
Mm-hmm. And for ending, how do you see the immediate future of the relationship between religions?
Well, I'm an optimist. At the same time, I think I'm a pretty practical person, and I see the dangers in my own particular church, which has many divisive issues that it's wrestling with. On the other hand, I look at my involvement with the Interfaith Center over 13 years, and I do feel that New York City, because of the Interfaith Center and the religious leaders that are part of its network, and other groups, have really made progress at helping people to understand how different religious communities live their lives, live into their faith, and how that connects to trying to attain a more civil society, especially when you've got so many different faith traditions packed into that metropolitan area.